Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Polyhedron presents Trinity Continuum, Anima. I want to be inflated, sedated. I forgot. I don't know what it is.
Someday you'll get it.
Someday.
Didn't you get it right on the last episode?
I think you got it right on our last
That
one,
was probably an aberration of the Matrix that didn't actually happen.
Well, we use dramatic editing now.
The cat walked by twice.
The cat walked by twice.
Well, welcome back, everyone. We're going to go through introductions, and then we'll get on with the show. Scott.
Hi, my name's Scott Kuban, pronouns he, him. I am a co-host of the Polyhedron podcast. I also run a Simulacra Studios actual play studio. You can find us on Twitch and YouTube at Simulacra TV. And I am playing Makhno, the anarcho-socialist revolutionary.
Ryan?
Hi, I'm Ryan Jofesberg. My pronouns are he, him. And I am playing Hamish, a spy for the Aeon Covenant.
Dixie.
Hi, I'm Dixie Cochran, pronouns she, her. I work at Onyx Path Publishing, where I'm one of the in-house developers, and I also wrote on Trinity Continuum Anima, and I am playing Poppy Zed, who is a streamer.
Mm-hmm. And I am Matthew Malice, the producer and co-host for Polyhedron. My pronouns are he, him. And I play Guy Bennitti, basically an Aeon scientist here to research the mystery. And last but definitely not least, Eddy.
Hi, my name is Eddy Webb. My pronouns are he, him. I am one of the in-house developers in Onyx Path, and also I am the developer for Trinity Continuum Anima. And today I will be the story guide, taking it deeper into the mystery of this story. And okay, so to recap what happened the past 3 sessions previously on I Want to Be Sedated. The characters were all members of the Aeon Covenant. They were reported to a man named Connor Malone, who is a member of Project Neptune, who mentioned...
Who is definitely not a Sandiop in any way, shape, or form.
Totally not a Sandiop. I actually have a picture of him on my notes. Exactly that.
Yeah, no, I know. You were describing him, and I was like, so it's Omar Sy. It's
He's so handsome.
He is very handsome.
Connor Malone... mentioned that he wants the group to look into a missing streamer by the name of Hal Castro, who went missing in the city of Broken Promise. And he was actually a member of a guild that 2 of the characters share, known as the Rangers of Honor. When they investigate at Broken Promise, they ran into some griefing when they were trying to get a boat to go into the Sand Sea. And they were griefed by a guild known as the Shadows of Ending. But they left behind a note, and they've discovered that the Hellcrasher's real name was Jaden, and claimed to have taken Jaden. So they left that situation. They were try to find out where Hellcasher actually disappeared from. They went to go investigate. They found some footprints, but there was some weirdness around that area, and so they decided to log out before howling over the distance came over and attacked them. Possible monsters attacked them. So they found out, they did some investigation in the real world for Jaden. The last name found out was Reed. They were, finding out where they were running to. They got really paranoid and skittish. And Makhno had a contact named Red who had helped Jaden hide and gave them an address. They went to the address. They knocked on the door, and Makhno had just said, "I'm here to help, and I have kebabs." And that is where we stopped.
How do you say no to that?
So I will leave a pregnant pause for Jaden to respond to that just frankly charming and just disarming phrase. I'm sure we'll absolutely take care of the problem.
No problem. One thing I do want to mention is that Poppy had used her cyber eyes to see a heat form inside the apartments, and it looked like he was holding something in his hand and pointing it towards the door, which
hence why I had stepped to the side of the door.
Move to the side, correct. And so it's like, how do you plan to help?
Look, Jaden, I'm going to be 100% honest with you here. We're working with the Aeon Covenant. Some people in there got concerned with some of the stuff that they've seen happening in Terra Surge, what happened to you recently being part of it. And they set us on the task of seeing what happened, helping you out wherever we can, and finding out more about what's going on. I'm a friend of Red. They said that they would be able to help me track you down in order to facilitate that. My primary interest is making sure you're okay, doing whatever we need to help, and then moving on to the larger situation.
So the camera we're looking through kind of pulls away from Makhno and settles on the door. And there's a long shot at the door, silence for a moment, and then you could hear a boop, boop, and the door kind of clunk. And the door swings open. And as the door swings open, we see the title sequence for Chapter 4, which is Ain't No Feeble Bastard. And as soon as the credits fade away, you see a person sitting on the other side. They're wearing kind of a jean jacket with long, dark hair. And they're holding a gun to their side, no longer pointing it at the door. And they're like, come in, don't talk in the hallway.
Sure thing. These are my friends that are also with the Aeon Covenant. Well, as we're walking in, I'll let them introduce themselves.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm
hello.
Hamish. How's it going?
I'm Guy. I'm very interested to understand what your situation is.
Poppy dead.
He kind of looks at you a little bit. It's like, do I know you?
Yeah, it's me. Hi.
You're that Poppy.
Uh-huh.
I'll close
Wow.
the door.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I have my helmet on still, if you recall, because I was trying to look, incognito in the hallway. So I like flip up the visor. I'm like,
I think it was one of those, like, when you spoke, it was like, wait, I know that voice.
yeah.
So you they said, no, have a seat, I guess.
There are windows in here?
There are windows in here. However, the blinds are down, and they're opaque blinds. The apartment itself is real kind of minimal. There's a couch. There's no TV. There's a kitchen that looks like it's more covered in takeout than probably ever used for actual cooking.
Mm-hmm.
There's a door that leads further in, which is probably where a bedroom and a bathroom are. And there's like a throw rug on the floor. Looks like it's been there, probably came with the apartments. There's no pictures on the wall. There's no personal effects. It looks like someone just moved in here and has been living here for 2 weeks or so, and has not actually either has lived here for a long time or just doesn't want to leave an impression.
This is an apartment, not a hotel room.
Like a studio apartment, basically?
No, it's an apartment. You're in an apartment
It's a
complex.
full apartment. Go.
It's just it's so sterile. It looks like a hotel room. Actually, a hotel room would have slightly more flux. At least would have like fake,
Yeah,
boring
like
art in the
and
walls.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
While we're in there and we're trying to secure the place, I will do a quick scan around, just like a nice little 360 to see if anyone's doing anything suspicious in a nearby room, like leaning against the wall, holding something to it, or sitting in a window across the street suspiciously.
Which area? What can you see? Just infrared, or is there anything else?
I can see heat signatures.
Heat signatures. Okay.
Yeah, just in general. And I think there's something else. Hang on. I gotta remember what my cyber eyes do.
Since Hamish freaked himself out real bad with his botch last go around, he's going to stay standing and very much like leaning in the, like against the wall next to the door.
Okay.
Yeah, Makhno will sit down and like very much get on Jaden's level and say like, so like I said, we want to help. What do you need?
I'll get to that role in a second.
Sure.
As a note, though, they're still holding the gun in their hands, but they're not pointing at anybody. It's kind of just sitting on the couch, but they're still holding the gun in their hand. Hamish, as you're kind of leaning against the wall, the angle you have, you can kind of see where the windows are, and you see that you kind of see like around the blinds a little bit, and you notice that the windows aren't. There's a layer of metal that's covering the windows. And this is probably not standard for the apartment.
Mm-hmm. I have looked it up, and I mostly just get +2 to sense anything that could be sensed with heat vision.
Okay. As you're glancing around, you just see like some vague heat signatures, like off in the distance, basically where the connecting walls would be for the apartment. So probably other tenants, but they're not near enough that they're doing anything relating to your apartment. They're just kind of in their own spaces doing their own thing.
Okay, cool.
In the door next to the kitchen, you do see the heat signature. You remember you saw 2 heat signatures, one that looked like it was frozen and didn't really move. That's where you're seeing the second one, and it's actually, now that you're on this side, it's very narrow. So it's very likely, it could be something sophisticated like a projection that projects energy that actually registers as heat, or it could just be literally a hot plate of metal that's been heated up. But it's certainly not a person. It is some kind of artificial thing.
Okay.
Do we see what that is, or is she only sees it?
She only sees it with her cyber eyes.
Got it. Understood.
And if you want to walk through the door, you can look into it.
I'm looking with my cyber eyes.
Your cyber eyes see.
But yes, but for Hamish, this is really bearing out you as a professional spy. This is paranoid for you.
So I like it.
Right. You feel very safe here, but also it's like, this guy's good / needs help.
Oh, it's a lot of the trash bags over the windows.
So Jaden's, as Makhno's kind of talking to Jaden, Jaden just starts fidgeting, bouncing a leg. And they're like, I don't know what you mean. I mean, everything's fine, I guess.
That is not the case. Now, I know you don't know us, and I appreciate you. What?
Hey, right, I don't know you.
But if we wanted to do you harm, we probably would have already done it. We just want to help.
That both the old guys are like, dude,
that is not as reassuring as it sounds.
No.
Not a spy.
All right. Well, let me continue to put the cards on the table. What triggered us?
Cards. Yeah. Show me some IDs. Show me some proof that you guys work for Aeon.
Oh.
We have cards.
You guys do have actual, your ID cards to get into Aeon, and they also work as kind of sort of badges.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll pull out the card, pull out the things,
and he picks each one and looks at it really carefully.
He knows my real name now.
Again, Hamish, this is a trick you've used before, where you stare at something really closely. Even if you have no idea telling if it's fake or not, but the kinds of things to look for in a fake ID, and they're not like taking it out of the sleeve and flipping it over or anything. They're just staring at it and comparing it to you as if that will somehow make it authentic. So you're starting to edge towards paranoid amateur.
Yeah, he's buying. He's just trying to think right now.
Right.
Looking for an exit strategy
and buying time. Yeah.
So what we got ticked off on was the thing that happened to you in the Sand Sea. You looked like your avatar just disappeared in a really weird way. We checked that out a little bit. We found those shadow vendings, griefing sons of bitches, were poking around and giving us shit about it.
Yeah. So the narrative AIs have already introduced or quasi quest / explanation.
So
just cover up.
Yeah. So obviously something happened.
So what happened?
Yeah.
You're walking, he disappeared. It was real weird.
So yeah, my Anima got bugged by the shadows of ending. They didn't like what I was looking into, and so they did something, I don't know what, but it forced me to add me to their guild. So I couldn't log in unless I accepted the membership into their guild.
That's not okay.
Well, I mean,
they did taunt us and say they stole you. By the way, we probably didn't mention this. I'm Cheap Shot, and this is, and you're Entos, right?
Yeah.
and this is Entos. We're in your guild.
Yeah.
By coincidence, I assure you. But
Okay.
they thought we were your guildmates looking for you, so they decided to fuck with us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of overplayed it a little bit. So that confirms what we already heard.
Do you believe this was very much a targeted attack, or was this an opportunity to mess with you? Did you
Also, why are you here? It's just a game thing. Like, we should really figure out like what happened between that and now. Because
this place is insane. Why are you? What the hell, man?
There's a whole lot happening here.
Who the hell are the Shadow of Ember?
Back off,
Whoa.
guys. Back off.
Clearly getting nervous.
You're right.
Guys.
You're right. I'll shut up.
They ask good questions, but obviously not in that manner. We don't want you to feel pressured, or like we're just trying to jump down your throat here. We
you want a
are trying to
kebab?
help.
I asked him if you wanted a kebab because you brought
Yeah,
kebabs.
are you hungry? I mean, I got some kebabs.
No, I'm fine.
Good. So, okay, you said you were looking into something, and they didn't like what you were looking into.
Yeah.
What was that?
They're stopping people from going into the flow in game.
Whoa.
Okay, so I'll tell you what everyone knows as a casual player of the game, and then we can make rolls to see if you can learn anything more.
Okay.
The flow is kind of a space near the Meridian Sea. It's basically a forest that's kind of cut off by rivers, deltas, waterfalls, and rapids. And it's a small, it's a place where lots of small towns and camps of all peoples can go there. So it's, as opposed to like staying in like a big city, like Broken Promise, you can actually go here, get into a small camp, and it's also a way for interesting adventures to kind of happen in this area away from the larger cities. Beyond that, if you guys want to make appropriate rolls, let me check culture.
But I know any more than that? It's like a major player.
So let's make culture and intellect rolls. Dixie, I'll let you add your fame dots
Okay.
to this.
Culture. You said culture? Okay.
Yeah. Culture and intellect.
Yeah, I'm going to actually spend an inspiration because I have the ability called Instant Expert.
Okay. That works.
I don't know nothing.
Because I have no culture.
You're down to 3 momentum.
Okay.
I got 4 successes.
Okay.
4 total with my enhancement.
Anybody else rolling, or is it just you two?
I'm gonna roll. I just gotta.
I rolled a 2 and a 3, so I have 2 dice for this roll. So I
Nothing.
reasonably failed it.
But that makes sense for your character since you
totally.
know
it's
anything about the
legit.
game.
Almost forewent the roll, but
yeah.
I was like, let's 2 dice.
Yep, no successes.
Okay. So only the people who are more hardcore players know about this. 2 other things that pop into your head. One is that this is where a lot of narrator-generated stories start because this is where Dark Towers of Evil Cults happen, where armies of undead rise, because it's so player character populated, and also because it's relatively small. They can actually just steamroll a village of NPCs, and then like a week or so later, more NPCs will come in and settle and set up against and kind of naturally reset the scenario in a subtle way. So it's kind of a hot spot for adventures to kick off. And one of them has been happening lately is that in the latest expansion, a new NPC race known as the Jihad have been introduced. And this is one of the spaces where the Jihad have started spawning. There's not much known about the Jihad, except for the fact that they are kind of a race of rock people. So they don't even have faces. They're just kind of roughly humanoid rocks of different kinds and styles. And they occasionally show up, and they're kind of a replacement for the Quell. The Quell used to be an NPC race of just long-term antagonists. They've since become player character peoples. And so Jihad is starting to clearly fill that gameplay role. But what's behind them, what's the story, what's the metaphor for them, it's still really vague. They just start showing up since the new expansion came out about a month or so ago.
Do they speak? Do they have mouths? I mean, like if they don't have faces, like how do they
there
talk?
are people who have found them having conversations, but it's much more kind of words just kind of like come out. Like there's no obvious mouth, but they still speak. There's noise that comes out, and people can hear the conversation. But there's also kind of psychic a little bit too. So. But they definitely communicate. They don't seem to want to communicate much, and most of their communications is in a form of, "Hey, let's murder people." But they're the new NPC enemy race,
the oldest form,
right? It's
Purest
not
form of communication.
entirely surprising that they're just right now murder rocks.
Murder rocks.
Murder rocks. I love it.
So you wanted to go into the flow,
and Shadows of Ending are trying to stop people from going there.
So you think that there was an entrance somewhere in the Sand Sea?
No, I was in the Sand Sea to see if I could find some more information about maybe what was going on in the flow. And that's when Shadows of Ending bugged my anima.
Okay. So back to some previous questions. From there to here, what's brought you to here?
This is where I live.
Okay. Well,
Like all
this
the
is where you
time.
live now. I mean, the red got you this place, right?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Why?
But Jaden,
Why?
Because I didn't want Shadows of Ending to find me.
What? Why were they going to find you in real life? What did you think they were going to do to you?
I don't know. Why would they bug my anima?
I don't know, but bugging someone's anima doesn't mean you're going to murder them. People
All right,
do
hold
that
on.
all the time
Hold
as a
on.
prank.
You said you were bugged. Let's start there. How were you bugged? Did they come to you? Did a piece of story happen? How? Or did it just happen?
I was walking along and they came in and somehow my PvP flag got tripped and one of them stabbed me, and next thing I knew I was booted out, and every time I tried to log back in, it told me I had to accept the join request from Shadows of Ending, and I couldn't get around that option.
Okay.
No, and so the first time you were stabbed, I'm assuming that's the footage that we've seen, which is you sort of glitching out and then being forcefully logged off, correct?
Well, no, he said he got stabbed. He got into a fight.
Right. Well, yeah, the spoiler tag came down.
They did.
Then they attacked me.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies a lot.
That kicked them out. Okay, and so have they come at you in the real world?
I mean, I assume they're going to.
Why?
Why would they do this otherwise?
Have you never met a troll?
I mean, I killed a few.
No, like a person who's a troll. They just do stuff to fuck with you. It's like fun for them.
That's the essence of a griefing guild.
What I'm wanting, here's a better way to ask. I mean, you obviously we've all run into griefers, and it pretty much stays in game for the most part. Do you have any reason to suspect why the Shadows of Ending might have operations in the real world?
Because that's what they're planning to do.
And how do you know that?
Because that's what I know.
How do you know that? Who told you? Where did you hear it or read it or whatever?
Can I make an empathy roll?
I was going to suggest, yeah.
Yeah,
people who want to make empathy rolls can. People who want to make technology rolls about how the code might be working.
I want to do code stuff because I'm depending on what I learn may determine certain actions I take next.
I will say certainly as a kind of a core clue for everyone. There's definitely not adding up here in case that wasn't obvious.
Yeah,
I think I have an idea, but yeah. So what's the attribute for the empathy roll?
Go ahead and make a compelling case for what you think. I mean, I would say probably composure or resolve. But I mean, that's whatever you think makes more sense for your character.
You said, and the coding stuff would be technology or enigmas?
Either.
Okay. I'm actually going to activate my skill trick because I'm using enigmas.
So you're spending momentum for the skill trick?
Yeah, no, well, the first
or
one's
you used
free.
it once already in the scene.
Yeah, because it's a new session.
Right.
1, 2,
Um,
5.
So I will start with Dixie and move our way up. So Dixie, what is your role, and what were you trying to do, and what is your resulting role?
I got 3 successes. I'm mostly trying to figure out what the hell's going on with him. So I was doing the empathy thing.
Empathy? Okay.
Because like I was the one talking to him at the time, and he's not talking like a human at this point, and that's confusing to me. So I'm just kind of like trying to be like, what the hell is up with this dude?
So your empathy is your gut instinct is bearing it well, and you're kind of comparing this to you've known some socially awkward people in your guild. That's completely not surprising. Yeah. This is not that.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting.
But it's also if this is mental illness, it's weird because everyone has glass and should be regulating for stuff like this. Mm-hmm. So either from an empathic standpoint, they are mentally ill and the glass is not working. Mm-hmm. They're not mentally ill and something's wrong with their glass, or they're just something about the booting out experience traumatized them, and it's just they're still struggling to recover from that. But definitely something about the way they're perceiving things is not working out right. Mm-hmm. Okay, Ryan.
I'm going to go with the straight, is this guy bullshitting us roll? So I rolled composure.
Okay.
With empathy, and I just got 1 success.
You're definitely get a sense that body language, confusion is definitely there, but also you've amped up your body language to cover for lying, and you're seeing a bit of that here. Like you overplay your hand a bit more, you pace around, you act nervous, you act wild to cover up tells that might indicate you're lying. You think this might be happening here. Whether it's conscious or unconscious, you don't know, but you're starting to, again, that needle keeps bouncing back and forth. It's like amateur, now it's like, well, maybe a player, but there's something that's just weird about that. Is it just simultaneously too naive and too slick of an operator? Scott, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, he's going for empathy role, but the angle that he's going on is like, he's definitely looking for trauma response, but a very specific type of trauma response, like brainwashing, people who have been, put through sort of MK Ultra shit.
Okay.
Like kind of like looking for something having been done to this person.
How many successes did you get?
Yeah. I got 3 successes.
3 successes? Okay. Given your past experiences, you've seen people more in the reign of like cult-like brainwashing, long-term societal brainwashing. And this doesn't appear to be that. This is more, for lack of a better term, brute force. But yes, this person clearly is not acting the way they acted prior to a certain point in time. But bluntly, people don't just pack up and move across town to a whole new place just because they got griefed in a game. Even the strongest in-game response, that's still dramatic. And the fact that the way they're talking is similar to what Ryan's character was noticing. Hamish was noticing that when they're talking about the events, it seems like they have a very clear sense of what that event is. But then when you guys take your questions outside of that, it gets real vague and contradictory. Okay. So some parts of this have been very rehearsed, and some parts of this they're struggling. And Matthew,
I did enigmas, so that would be 3 successes as well.
And what tactics specifically are you looking for?
Basically, you said use technology, so I'm basically trying to suss out what could have been done by the shadow of endings to affect this person. So obviously it affected their anima, but their anima and everything is connected to their glass, which means it had some repercussions in the physiological, neurological standpoint, also but potentially from a programming standpoint of something messed with his glass, which is messing with his physiology or psychology.
You see 3 successes?
Yeah.
Okay. So because you're thinking about this less as a technical problem and more as a puzzle, there are 2 kind of sides to this. There's the technical side and the social side. The social side tells you that you know that membership in guilds is very opt-in. You have to choose to be a part of a guild.
Yep.
And even the FSA has a certain amount of privacy laws. You cannot force someone into membership that violates a whole swath of FSA laws, and also just global rights that came about during the Nova Age. So if the people that made Terra Surge allowed that bug to continue for more than like a day, it should have been crushed into oblivion. There should have been patch notes. There should have been a statement.
Yeah.
There should have been explicit PR spin control. So either the company is hiding this, or what Jaden experienced is not what Jaden thinks they experienced, or Jaden's lying from that perspective. From the technical side, griefers do much like you. They're very similar to you, except for you use your powers for good. You use exploration of bugs and quirks in the code, and it's kind of here's a neat thing, and you can document that stuff and show people. It's like, hey, I found if you hit the 15th brick in this building 15 times, then it turns blue, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But usually, even when you find those and document those, they get covered pretty quickly, and 98% of them are NPCs or narrators.
Right.
If a player character can take advantage of bugs, they cannot create bugs.
Right.
The only people who can change the code are employees of Eclipse or of Expanse Interactive, or their subcontractors. Eclipse Phase, yeah.
Yeah, that's only Adam Jury can change.
Only Adam Jury can change the Matrix, right? So either Shadows of Ending are devs or dev adjacent people who have access to the source code, or again, something's not adding up. So given those two sides, either this is a corporate cover up or this is wrong.
Yeah, there's something. Okay.
Eddy, I'd like to activate a gift.
Okay.
It's called "But Before I Die," and I'm going to make him monologue at me for however long you think a round would be in this context, and I'm going to trigger him by saying, "Kid, this doesn't add up. What are you hiding?" And now he has to monologue at me. Unless he's a source user, then he can resist.
He is not. But let me just look at the rules for that.
Unless it's specifically something that has to happen in like a combat or.
Yeah, I'm still checking. Sure. Because I want to make sure that I feel like that's going to be combat specific. But which gift is that? Is that
It's a manipulation gift.
Manipulation gift. Okay.
Yeah.
I have the text of it.
Actually, yeah, just tell me what the text is. That'd be great.
Your character provokes someone to a monologue about their plans or anything really, buying time. They spend their next action monologuing instead of doing anything else. And that's all it says.
Oh, okay. Okay, so spend inspiration.
Yep.
And they're like, but I don't know what you mean. I told you everything. I told you that it's a Shadows of Ending. Shadows of Ending are trying to stop people from going into the flow, and that's why they're trying to stop me, and that's why they're coming after me. And I don't understand. I thought you people would understand, and that's you said you were trying to help, but now you're just accusing me of lying. And they keep on that vein for a while. But the one thing you notice immediately is they said almost word for word what you asked them last time in the first part, and then it just becomes kind of spluttering for the next 30 seconds. So they have a story, and they cannot deviate from that story, which is making you think this is not I've been coached, because you definitely know, okay, here's my talking points and how I spin and tweak around those to build a story. This is just they've been given a speech and they've memorized a speech, and that is it.
I would like to record this spiel, activate my glass to record it. And I'm gonna let them finish. And I'm gonna try and calm them down a bit. Okay, that was a little offsides of Hamish to grill you like that.
You're
I understand.
right.
It's fine.
Right. I'm sorry. I lean back.
Mm-hmm.
But ride with me for a little bit. And I'm gonna like bring up my device and like bring up the recording of what they just said.
Okay.
I'm like, I want you to take a step back from yourself and watch this. And ask yourself, does this sound right? And I'll press play.
Okay. They start watching the like have a small tablet, you just play a video on it, beam it from your glass. And they're watching it, and three of you are watching their face, and the face just looks kind of almost slack, like not quite asleep, but certainly just no emotional reaction to this in a disturbing way. Hamish, because Hamish is always expecting trouble, is paying attention to the gun. And their hand on the gun is getting really tight.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
And then all of a sudden animation comes back to their face.
Over our private channel, I just bang out, he was going to blow his brains out if you didn't stop.
They pull the gun back up and it's like, you all need to go. You all need to go.
No, I understand. I understand.
I'm going to activate an edge, calming mean.
Okay.
And it increases the attitude of the scene to one positive scale. Like Jade.
Okay. Do you have the text of that?
Yeah, it's in Distant Worlds. I will just read it off.
Oh, okay. No, I was gonna say it's not in the core book.
It is not.
I have a question after he is done.
Well, go ahead. Well,
it says, when caught up in the midst of a tense, heated situation, the character knows just what to say in order to cool tempers and soothe bruised egos. Once per scene, she may shift the attitude of a social encounter by one in a positive direction.
Okay. Then we'll definitely say that the tension in the room visibly kind of calms down. But before we talk that out, sure. Matthew, what do you want?
My question is, and this is going to be very hard, is it possible to force someone to go unconscious through their glass by basically through a script or programming or something? Basically tell his glass to go to sleep.
You could do that. I mean, like the programmers could. I'm not saying that we could, but
right, yeah. It's like if you had like a medical office and about 3 hours of coding time and them strapped to a table, maybe.
Yeah. So or this isn't something I can just do.
Chose to do it.
Yeah.
So if you want to alter a glass directly, basically it's not like sometimes things where there's a port or anything. Yeah. Instead, there's a nanite needle. Actually, there's a needle that gets built out of nanites that you then inject into various parts of their body, and then the needles really melt and then go through and then reprogram.
So I couldn't send them like since we're so physically close, I couldn't just send them via the digital interface for basically the internet directly to them.
You can send messages.
Yeah.
But you couldn't send a command.
But you can't force glass to do anything, because that's one of the advantages of site privacy laws is that ostensibly you cannot. So everyone has to opt into anything the glass changes the person. Mm-hmm. So to override that, you have to have direct access, but you can send information in a close band speed, especially because your glass is jailbroken. I'm assuming you probably have some like nuisance pop-up kind of thing that you could send if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, noted. I'll let you know if I decide to do anything. I just wanted to get some context of what I couldn't do in this instance.
Okay. Yeah, so what is Makhno saying to calm things down?
Yeah, Jane's like, Jaden, something is clearly wrong. You are not acting in a healthy manner, and we honestly are just here to help you. What I'd like to do, my friends and I would like to take you into the Aeon facility, get you checked out. How long has it been since you've been to the doctor?
I don't know. Probably since they got my glass.
The Aeon Covenant, best medical facilities in the world. We want to help. But I think if you hole up here any longer, I think something really bad is going to happen. And that would break my heart. We have been with you for about 5-10 minutes now, and all of us are picking up that there's something very bad has happened to you. And if it's happening to you, it's happening to other people. And we need to put a stop to it. We need to find out what it is and put a stop to it. And right now, you're the best chance that any of us have to figure this out and fix it. Please come with us.
Hey, take a deep breath. Let the breath out. There you go. Okay. All right.
Can you give me the gun?
They hand you the gun.
It
is way too late.
Is it even loaded?
Is it loaded?
It's not even a gun. It's a 3D printed model.
Damn cheeky. I like it. What
do you mean? What?
No. It's a good model. It's a good model. I like it.
Yeah, the guy who sold it to me told me it was a really good gun.
Yep, it's a very good gun.
You shouldn't trust that guy.
Makhno.
But
we don't want to break. Like, once again, on the private chat, like, quit messing with his version of reality. I don't think he can handle it.
There's
I think someone just scammed him.
I mean, but he thinks.
I'm shutting up.
On the chat now. That if you guys bicker for a second, he's like possible exploit or conditioning involved.
We picked up on that.
No. Well, he's confirming.
Yeah. Hamish, can you get in touch with Colin? I think we need a more than just a ride share.
Yep.
So
we're no safer than. We'll just call him here.
Yeah.
So I'll ring him. I know it's been like not terribly long, but I'll ring him.
It's been a few hours. I mean,
yeah.
Bonjour.
We have El Castro with us, and we need to bring him in, but he's rightfully freaked out.
And they.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Very well. What seems to be the problem with him? Them.
We're not 100% sure. I'll try to go subsonic on this part. It's like, we think there's some conditioning involved that they underwent as part of their little disappearance. And we need real doctors, not, spooks.
I see.
The brain's all weird. The brain's all weird, boss.
Bring them in. I will. One of the local physicians owes me a favor. They've been actually looking into some of the glass technology, so perhaps we can explore that avenue. Do you need me to send a private car, or can you able to bring them in by yourselves?
We would prefer a private car with someone watching, because he's relatively convinced someone's going to harm him, and I'm not unconvinced that someone is trying to harm him.
Do you have any suspects on who might be trying to harm him?
Well, they're the members of the Shadow of Endings Guild. They apparently pulled some very weird trickery inside Terra Surge that led to this, and now he's utterly and completely convinced, or they are utterly and completely convinced that Shadow of Endings is out to get them.
Okay. Sounds like we should probably get back together and have a discussion. So I'll have a car there in about 10 minutes.
Fantastic.
And I'll also have a couple of security personnel come along with it.
Thanks. I hang up.
Jaden, this is probably going to be a little bit of time before we're able to leave. I'd like to go over your vitals, and there may be some issues to make sure that there is not some sort of tracking software or anything involving you, but I would need your permission to access and communicate with you and your glass, if you would allow me.
No. Why would I let someone I barely know into my brain?
That's fine. This is why I'm asking. This way we can get some of the preliminary understandings done, but I understand and I'll respect your wishes.
Well, we have a doctor ready to talk to them, so...
Did he say which one?
No.
Just one that was Colin's been working with. Glass expert. I'm sure you can collaborate when we get them there.
That's my...
All right, Gene, this is
he looks a little flustered when you say that.
Collaborate?
Yeah. Jaden, this has been really stressful. Like I said, we're going to help out. We're going to get you checked out, and we're definitely going to protect you from these people.
Okay.
Have a kebab, man. It's been stressful.
They pick up one of the kebabs and kind of just pick at it.
I'll take a kebab. I'm starving.
Yeah, sure. Kebab.
Yep.
Jaden, there's anything you need to bring with us when we leave? Anything we should gather up?
No, I don't have anything here I need.
Okay. I'm going to just look around, because we've only been in this room. I'm just going to kind of peek my head into the bedroom or the kitchen.
See what the hot thing is.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go through the door by the kitchen, and it's a short hallway that basically you walk. There's a door on the left, which you open up, and it's a very small bathroom. And then at the end of the hallway is just a bedroom. The bedroom is just a slab foam mattress. There's another window that's covered in a metal sheet. It looks like you can tell the metal sheet, because the blind is up. The metal sheet is retractable. There's buttons you could push to, green one up, red one down. On the right side, there is a big sign that says "Hot, do not touch" on the wall, and there is a button next to it that's been pressed down and is red. So you're deducing that if you slap the button, the heat signature inside the wall actually activates and makes it seem like there's another person in the room. But also, it is a little warm in here.
That's obviously not standard equipment.
No, this is a safe house.
Got it. Okay, it's actually built to be a safe house.
Right.
Yeah, so people like me can't tell what's going on in there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So 10 minutes go by, and you get a notification all of your glass. Your ride is here. And you go downstairs, and there's a black hover car. It's longer than usual. Windows are a little tinted, and you see a small, discreet Aeon logo on one of the doors. So you go inside. You put Jaden inside, and Poppy, as you're kind of relaxing, thinking about your next steps, you go check your messages. It's been like an hour to check social media, and you have 15 messages from one of your mods that start with "When were you going to tell me?" and end with "I'm going to quit if you don't answer."
What's in the middle of all that?
Call me. Why don't you tell me? The news is going everywhere. You should have told me so I could have prepared an announcement.
I got to message them back and say, what the hell are you talking about?
And they get into a live chat with you, not like voice, but live chat, text chat, not asynchronous. Yeah. And they're like, the announcement has been out for 30 minutes. Why didn't you tell me?
What announcement? What are you talking about?
Your stream is being sponsored by Immersion Entertainment?
Sure isn't. They offered. I never signed anything.
A file appears in the chat, and it's a press release signed by Ruby Stedman saying that your stream is now being sponsored by Immersion Entertainment.
Nope. Didn't agree to
we'll cut it there.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no. All right. Find out what happens to Poppy's sponsorship in the next episode.
Brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah.
Raid Shadow Legends.
All right. See everyone in episode 5.
Bye.
Bye.